Over scenes of a girl running, a young man at a computer, and a man with a guide dog. The screen reads, Taking Charge 3. 5 stories of success and self-determination. Brian.
The most important secret to success for me is perseverance. I'm never giving up.
Dulce.
You are able to do anything with motivation.
Justin.
You have to have good skills in whatever you're trying to be successful in. And you have to have a lot of encouragement.
Amanda.
My high school newspaper teacher, he really helped me get through high school.
David.
You have to be doing everything you need to do, classes, homework, papers, more homework for yourself. You have to be motivated to do it on your own.
Jesse.
You have to have courage, pretty much. If you shy away from things, you're never going to be successful at anything.
Michael.
You have to persevere and you have to do. You can't be a passive participant in life.
Success is how you define it. It's deciding where you want to go in life and finding a way to get there. For some of us, including people with disabilities, there may be obstacles to overcome. Everyone has challenges, everyone has choices, everyone can find their own path to success. And almost everyone has some help along the way. Sometimes technology provides that help, playing a role in personal, academic, and professional goals. And sometimes it's people. We can learn from these young men and women who are pursuing their dreams and making a success of their lives.
Students are in a ballet class.
Jessie started ballet in preschool. From the beginning, she loved it.
It's athletic, you're very fit, and you can do everything. And yet, it's very poetic and smooth. And, I don't know, it's got a bit of both in it.
At 16, ballet is still a joy for Jessie. As a small child, it was also a great solace. She could excel physically, even when her academic life was very painful.
My teachers in first and second grade, they're like, oh, she's just slow, just give her time. And it the way they tried to teach me didn't work. So it was really I had to create a way to get there.
In fact, Jessie had a learning disability. Her mother saw the warning signals, had Jessie tested independently, and found tutors for her. She was Jessie's greatest support. She knew Jessie could succeed.
Certain times, I'd get down and be like, I'm just stupider than everyone else. But my mom wouldn't let me believe that. She's fantastic. She's always there for me. She won't let me fail. I mean, we have the same goal, my success. But even sometimes when I get down, she's always there. She's like, of course you can do this.
Jessie's mom was coach and cheering section in one. She made Jessie's success a priority, even though she had no idea what it was like to struggle with schoolwork.
We're exact opposites. She's totally and completely verbal, and she's the kind of person who never had to study ever, and my sister's that way too. So it's hard. She had to imagine what it was like for me, and she was the one who started this whole different approaches, about learning and spelling. I could never write, so we did it orally in the dark, stuff like that.
In the beginning, Cambodia is located in Southeast Asia.
With help from her mom and her tutor, Jessie's been able to create new learning techniques that work for her. She uses a computer with speech recognition software for writing papers, speaking the words into a microphone. She also uses books on tape to help with reading. It's still a struggle, and she still has to work harder than most of her classmates. But Jessie feels that the extra effort will pay off when she goes to college.
I've developed a good work ethic, and I can do it. I can work hard. It'll be harder for me, but at least I'll have the skills and all that. So.
And always, Jessie continues to challenge herself physically. She's been on her high school cross-country team for 2 years.
When I run, I let go of everything, and I just focus on running, and, I kind of clear my head. It's good.
She applies a sports metaphor to her academic life as well. If you have to climb a hill, she says, you get to ski down the other side.
If you work hard at something, you'll get it eventually. So I applied that to academics, and so I've done it in smaller senses, and I know I can do it again. If I climb, I'll get to ski down.
A young man is seated at a computer.
ITS Hope, this is Randy.
Randy Hammer has been blind since birth. He's also the kind of person who expects things to turn out well. He works as a computer help desk analyst in a major corporation, a job he started immediately after college.
My personal opinion is that that silver lining that everybody talks about is there. You've just got to know how to get to it. And sometimes it takes some work.
Randy's goals were to earn a bachelor's degree and work in the computer field. To get there, he used a computer with screen reader software and a speech synthesizer, which read aloud the text that appeared on his screen. He had to learn to interface his own adaptive technology with a variety of computer systems, first at school and later at work.
I take the same adaptive equipment with me, and so I learn a few more tricks about it and adapting to the new situation.
What do you want?
Eventually, Randy plans to complete a master's degree. He has high expectations for himself. He learned that from his parents.
First of all, they mainstreamed me from the beginning. And along with mainstreaming, they pushed me really hard. They expected the same from me as they expected from my sister, who was without disabilities. I did everything that any other student did, and I was basically treated the same by my teachers and, to an extent, my peers.
Randy walks with his dog up some steps to the front door of a house.
In his career, Randy is very goal-oriented, but it's not his whole life. Home is important to him, too, because of Denise.
Inside.
Yay! Good boy!
She's intelligent, she's quick-witted, she laughs at my jokes.
Denise and Randy met in high school, often a difficult time socially. With a little less self-confidence, Randy might have let his disability get in the way of asking her out. But that didn't happen.
Everybody's got their, ooh, they're not going to like me because. And a disability is just one of those things that you can kind of use as, I'm not comfortable dating because I'm afraid it's going to be a pity date. But everybody's got those kinds of things. I'm not sure, if everybody's as extreme as a disability, but everybody's got something out there.
Their wedding photo is shown.
Randy and Denise were married soon after college. Once again, Randy credits his parents with planting the seeds of success in his life. They taught him about respect for others.
You want to be equal. You want to have both people happy with the relationship. You want to have both people enjoying each other, enjoying being with each other.
Randy and his dog walk through an office.
For Randy, part of living a successful life is breaking down stereotypes. He tries to educate people about how to treat someone with a disability.
The idea isn't to draw attention to yourself. It's to handle the situation quietly and allow, the person to maybe get something out of it.
Accepting the challenges of life in a positive spirit, Randy expects the best out of people and out of himself. He plans to make a difference in the world.
I figured that if I kind of break down the walls of thinking of one individual, maybe it won't change the way the world works. But you know what? I can't do anything about that. I can maybe help one person think differently. And if I do, and that person comes upon another disabled person, maybe they'll look at them with different eyes than they would if they had not encountered me.
A man in a wheelchair moves down an office hallway.
When Todd Stabelfeld meets someone new, he knows that his disability is probably the first thing they notice. So he likes to address it immediately.
It's a good icebreaker. People want to know. This is obviously attraction. They're interested. They want to know. It's humans. And so I find that it's real easy for me to talk about it. I'll get it out in the open and get it over with, and then we can move on with our conversation. I don't mind,
At Todd's first job interview, he hadn't mentioned his disability over the phone.
Hey, John, this is Todd, Cortex.
Todd, my man, how are you?
Doing good. How you doing, bud? Good.
When he arrived, there were some awkward moments as the interviewer rearranged his office to accommodate Todd's wheelchair. But the interview quickly moved to the important questions.
The second question was, well, how do you use a computer? How can you program? So once I told him about my assistive technology, and the third question was, how much do you want? And once I told him, you're hired. Can you start tomorrow?
Todd chose computer programming because he knew there would be a great demand for his services. He also wanted to make money as quickly as possible so that he could support himself. From the time he was paralyzed at 8 years old, his mother nurtured the idea of independence.
I got home from the hospital and she said, "You're moving out when you're 18. You know, you're going to get a job, you're going to go to school. I'm not going to take care of you the rest of my life." And she's always been a fighter, and that's how she grew up with her mother and her father. And so she installed that in me, and I took off with that. So we're fighters.
Todd needed that fighting instinct. At 3, his father was killed in a motorcycle accident. At 8, Todd's childhood changed even more dramatically. Todd and his cousin found his father's old guns and started playing with them.
One gun we were playing with was a bolt-action .22 rifle. I loaded it and I gave it to my cousin. Basically, he started looking at the gun from his story, flipping the trigger and the safety off and on, and shot me right in the chin.
At first, Todd didn't realize what had happened. When it finally hit home, he needed all the support he could get from family and friends.
We all really pulled in together and became one big support system. And we drew in tight and we became a big family. And so when things started happening as far as, oh my gosh, I can't walk. I'm never going to walk again. I'm never going to be a true man. I'm inadequate. How am I going to provide for my family? Those things start coming in, and that's when you start getting a little bit emotional and start going through some serious, some brain things as far as what am I going to do?
His faith and his family helped Todd move on. He left bitterness behind, enjoyed high school, and went on to technical school. Today, technology is vital to his career, helping him perform a job he likes.
Well, one obviously can't open the door. So basically, you can set up automatic doors off of switches and things. So they set that up on my wheelchair, and that's how I open the door at home and at the office. And as far as computer working, it's real simple. On-screen keyboard with sort of a stick mouse, sip and puff. One puff, single click, 2 puffs, double click. And that's what I use. And then it's just a simple book stand, and a mouth wand for magazine turning, paper turning. And that's really it.
At home.
Good evening, Carol. I'm home.
Hi, Todd.
Todd lives on his own, pays for his own attendance, and enjoys his work. At some point, though, he plans to return to college for a career change. He'd like to work with people in some way. And he wants a schedule that allows for family time.
I definitely want to get married. I want to be a good dad. I definitely see myself in that future. I plan to be sort of an independent type, my own boss, make my own hours, so I can adjust to that schedule. And you also have to adjust to your disability. Your disability is in control of you, and you're along for the ride. You can't tell your body what you want to do. It tells you, and you got to learn to listen to it and take care of it.
With his strong determination, there's no doubt Todd will succeed.
I set high goals. I need to set high goals. I need to set goals that are so far out there that, can anybody reach them? And then so far I've reached every single goal that I've set, and I plan to set every goal and reach them with complete success. And I don't think anything's going to stop me.
In slow motion, Randy walks through the office.
All of these young people have a promising future, and what they all have in common is self-determination. They're making their own choices, setting their own goals, and defining their own path to success. They're learning to be independent adults. In your search for success, their suggestions may help you too. Define success for yourself. Set personal, academic, and career goals. Keep your expectations high. Understand your abilities and disabilities. Play to your strengths. Develop strategies to reach your goals. Use technology as an empowering tool. Work hard. Persevere. Be flexible. Develop a support network. Look to family, friends, and teachers.
Do you remember what form of the verb did we use before para and IK?
Nate, a high school senior, knows a lot about finding support.
You gotta constantly ask questions. You gotta self-advocate, like they say all the time.
You can do it. Okay.
And that's what he does. Nate's learning disability makes some classes difficult, like Spanish. So he goes to tutoring after school.
Let's divide it up into parts.
That's good. The E is gonna make an A sound. So inter.
Good.
When Nate was very young, it took a while for anyone to realize what a struggle it was for him to learn to read. Even his family didn't understand.
They'd be like, oh, well, you're faking it, you know, you're playing around, you're just not trying hard enough or something. But I was trying, you know.
Besides having a learning disability, Nate changed schools several times between kindergarten and second grade.
It made it hard for me to get things down. Like, I would be missing this and I would be like, oh, so how do I do that? And the teachers would be like, oh, you don't know that? And then they would just, you know, wanting just to pass me or something like that.
So have you finished your report?
Nate's mom wanted to help him, but conferences at his school were discouraging back then.
I remember one time them saying that he was mildly retarded. And I remember just breaking down at that meeting and saying, you can't put that on his record because my child is not mentally retarded.
Fast forward past grade school and eventually a correct diagnosis. Support from his mother, his teachers, and his church kept him trying to succeed. And Nate himself began to take charge of his future.
Once he decided, I'm going forward, regardless of my learning disability, he's been going, grades shot up. I mean, just tremendously. It started in the middle of 9th grade, and it's been like that ever since.
Nate went beyond going to tutoring and asking his teachers for help. He did some research, and he found a program that would encourage his dreams of a college education.
I had looked on the internet, and my mom, I told her I was going to see if they had any programs out there, internships that had, you know, to do with people with disabilities, with any types of disabilities. And so I started looking, and I looked up, and I found them do it.
Nate, do you have something to add to that?
Just motivating yourself and just trying to improve your weaknesses.
Do It at the University of Washington offers summer study sessions and year-round support and mentoring to college-bound students with disabilities. Nate approached his teachers for references, applied to the program, and was accepted.
The overall program was really challenging to me. It really opened my mind.
He is huge.
In a Do It field trip to observe gorillas at the zoo, an instructor shared both scientific knowledge and her own personal story.
I was born with autism, and I had a hard time getting along with human beings until I met gorillas and learned how to get along better socially.
When she spoke and when she talked about her disabilities and her life struggles, that's what really opened me up, because believing in yourself and this, knowing that you can do it. After college, what I want to do is be a real estate agent and just have fun with life.
Nate looked for support and found it. He met inspiring adults and connected with mentors in Do It. He recognized his own strength, and he learned how far it could take him.
At the beginning and everything, I never thought that I was going to be in any type of position to even make it through high school at first. And so, now that I'm just believing in myself more and, just having that support behind me, it's just, it's making everything worthwhile to keep going. And I may keep struggling, but just keep going, and that's the most important thing.
Jesse.
Rosie! Come on, dog treat.
You've heard it before. The longest journey begins with the first step. Jesse is just getting started.
I go to Ballard High School. I'm a senior. I'm graduating in 2006. I have a sister named Morgan, who's tall and everybody UW. And I have my mom Linda. I have my mom Stephanie. And I have my little dogs. One name is Ginger. The other one name is Rosie. And they like to get in trouble.
Jesse's mom, Linda, a carpenter, built independence into their home.
This is my bedroom. This is called the blue room, because I like the color blue. And over here is my sink and toilet. So I have my own bathroom in my room. That's Lauren Jackson. I'm the tallest Dawn player in Seattle, and I like her because she's tall and she's a really good basketball player. As
Jessie grew up, Linda found that she was helping her daughter more than was needed. and letting Jessie explore her abilities was much more stressful than it had been with her older sister.
With Jessie, it has felt to me like it was cruel to not help with all the daily tasks. It's always felt like that. And now I'm trying to retrain myself to feel like it's cruel to not let her go through those things, because she's able to do them. It takes a longer time, but she can do them just fine, and she doesn't mind doing them, actually.
Okay, Jessie, this is your schedule and your scholar folder, so it's everything you'll need for the whole week. Okay.
Jessie took a big step toward independence last summer when she left home for 2 weeks to attend the Do It summer study program at the University of Washington.
She enters a room.
Hi. It was a new experience because I've never been away from home that much, and it's working out fine though.
Linda?
Linda? Hi, Linda.
It was quite a challenging experience for Jessie's parents.
Yeah, it was terrible. I felt like when I walked out of the room, I felt like I was going to throw up. It's so great for her, of course, but I just felt that it would be really hard for her.
Jessie, on the other hand, fit right in.
It's kind of fun for me to be around kids and grown-ups with different disabilities and wheelchairs, because I'm the only one in my family.
The first thing you want to do is you want to find out about the schools you're interested in. Because
Summer study was 2 weeks of classes, discussions, entertainment, and learning how to take charge.
How does that fit in with my little scheme here?
Because then you guys can feel like a big family instead of like just individual. Then you can know who's around you and who's there to support you.
I really think that Do It lit a little charge in her, and it's burning. She came home from Do It really excited, of course, and just started doing things for herself. Like she would rush up and hit the paddles for wheelchair doors before I could get there, and started saying, oh no, I want to put my own socks on today, and just a lot of things that were different for her.
All right, good stuff. So you hang on to this, but it looks like you did well up there.
Yeah.
Ooh, muy bien. Ooh.
The biggest change was that Jessie took charge of her high school curriculum. She was determined to leave her special education program, which wasn't challenging enough.
I was trying to get out of it so I could go and do more academic classes so I could have homework, and then just be able to be more out in the hallways than trapped in one room.
In a classroom.
36.
Jessie's favorite classes include Spanish and math.
Any others?
El Español. Spanish.
El español. Sí, señorita.
Sometimes during the school day, when it's necessary, Jessie works with an assistant.
She helps me get my books out. She helps me in the bathroom, and she helps me getting me to the bus, helping my jacket, and pretty much just helping me get stuff that are too high for me or I can't do on my own. So
she's a good girl. She's got a lot of energy, and she's just real happy in life. I'm not worried about her leaving school, because when she leaves here, she's going to make friends. She's going to go on in life. She's going to do fine.
Between her assistant and her friends, Jessie does quite well at school. But she's very aware of the physical barriers that prevent her and others from being completely on their own. For example, there are no automatic door openers to get into the building.
I want to be able to talk to the head of the school and so then trim the school a little bit. So people in wheelchairs and with different disabilities, they could go there and not be able to get around and do stuff on their own instead of having other people do it for them.
Jessie's social awareness is growing in other ways, too. Her senior project reflects that.
My topic is good being little people, because that's what my background is, well, one of them. And I want to be able to share that with other people instead of us, knowing it, and other people, and, having different grown-ups that have kids get to, know what little people are. If they will have one, they'll know how to deal with them.
Jessie's plans include community college, a house of her own, and at least one dog. And she has advice for other students.
Do the right thing, pretty much. Just follow your classes, do what your dream tells you, and then go do it. It's hard, but you can manage.
And that's what success and self-determination are all about.
Amanda.
I've always felt like that. My parents have taught me that I can do whatever I want.
Darren.
I don't think you have to be rich or famous to be successful. You just have to enjoy your life.
Sakina.
You have to have like determination and know where you're going, I guess. You can't be standing at the fork road saying, oh, maybe trying to walk down both paths at the same time.
Joshua.
Always be thinking, be willing to talk to anybody, do anything. Just take everything that you can. Experience, I think, is what builds success.
Justin.
You have to have patience. That's the main thing, is patience.
Katrina.
It's important just to go ahead and pursue whatever interests you.
Ivan.
And you want to try to support other people who are trying to do the same thing.
Marlon.
Success is about making it happen. If you want it, you can have it. You just have to do it.
For more information, contact DoIT. On the World Wide Web, www.washington.edu/DOIT. Phone, voice, or TTY 206-685-DOIT. Address, DoIT, University of Washington, Box 355670, Seattle, Washington, 98195-5670. Director, Cheryl Bergstaller. The content of this video is based upon work supported by the National Science Foundation under Cooperative Agreement number HRD 0227995 and the Mitsubishi Electric America Foundation. Any opinions, findings, and conclusions or recommendations expressed in this product do not necessarily reflect the views of the funding sources. Copyright 2006, University of Washington.